Hey everyone, this is DWS Darius. Welcome to another day in the fish room. So today we are down here doing a water change. Most of the tanks just have this tank and those two tanks down there left. But tonight was a special night because I wanted to put this fish back into this aquarium. Originally I took him out because he was being a little bit too aggressive. I left him down here for about a month and now I think he's able to go back into this aquarium. Now originally I wanted to make this move at night because they would have been asleep. I think it would have been much easier to catch him, much easier for him to adapt into this aquarium while everybody's asleep. However, I'm thinking, I didn't do a water change yet on this tank, but whenever I do a water change, I bring the water very low, he starts to panic. If you look at his head, he has a scratch right there in his head, and that's because he's always panicking when I do a water change with him in that small aquarium. I didn't want to go through that again, so instead of waiting for tonight, I'm just going to go ahead and put him in a tank so that I don't have to do a water change in this aquarium. And I figured that being that I'm actually working in this aquarium, a little bit later I'm going to go and wipe down the glass and everything. So I'm going to be working in his tank and it's going to give him enough time to adapt. They shouldn't fight while I'm in the tank working around. And hopefully it goes as easy as I'm thinking it's going to go. Now my predictions, when they first go in, everybody's going to run from him because he's as big as he is. I say he's about 18 inches. Everybody is going to be afraid, but eventually the pike, this guy right here, is going to try him. The Oscar, who's back there, is going to try him. And out of everybody, this guy is going to try him the most. He was the one who was getting bullied by this big guy, but now I think it's going to be the other way around until he reestablishes his position. But anyway, this water is getting full and I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to catch him and put him in there. Come on. Come on. It's not that hard. Oh, he's jumping. I'm trying my best not to inflict any damage on him. He's really starting to act up. That's why it's best to do it when he's asleep. This chase wouldn't be happening. How big the fish is. So already we have the Oscar approaching him. The peacock bass approached him a little bit earlier, and then the pike is going to approach him. He's still pretty shocked. And once again, that's why it would have been a little bit better at night because he still would have been panicking and everything. But first of all, he would have been asleep, they would have been asleep, and that would have gave him enough time to just adjust. But I prefer to do it this way because when I do water changes in that aquarium, he just gets too rough and bangs up himself too much. So originally I wanted to work in a tank while the water was filling up, but I'm just gonna let the tank fill up and then work in it afterward. Just keep an eye on this guy. Now we even have the pearsai over here. Try to look at the pearsai, trying to look big in front of this guy. This is the biggest fish in a tank, this Cicla ocellaris peacock bass. And now everybody investigating. Look at the Oscar. I'll bring you guys aside, shit. I don't want to move too much around the tank because he's still trying to adjust. Don't look at the Oscar shaking his tail. But I don't want to move too much around the tank because that could cause him to panic a little bit. And you can see some of his scratches. Right above the eye he has a scratch, and then the tail he has a little bit of a scratch. But eventually, as long as there's no major fighting, he should recover. Look at Oscar. The Oscar is really starting to attack everybody now. Now, in terms of some of the smaller peacock bass, we have the Cichlid orinoco right there, and then we also have the Cichlid tamensis right here. Both of them are too big to be eaten, but he still has the risk of killing them just by pure aggression. But he also is afraid of this driftwood. So as long as the driftwood stays floating, these smaller guys should be okay until eventually, I guess, they lose fear of the driftwood. Now so far we got the Oscar as the only fish that's willing to bother him. Other than that, I saw the bigger Ocellaris over there. You see him on top. I saw him flare one time, but he sees the size difference and he knows that he doesn't stand a chance, so he's not going to go too far. And then we have the pike. Now the pike is more of a secretive fish. While I'm working in the tank doing water changes, the pike hides. But eventually, when I'm not around, the pike will show his colors and also try to assert his dominance. Look at the pike right there. But later on, he'll most likely try to assert his dominance over this guy. Okay everyone, so it's been about an hour since I added this big peacock bass into the aquarium. As you just saw, he just ran from the pike because the pike is being secretive and conniving, and whenever I'm not paying attention, he attacks him. The Oscar, all day the Oscar has had a grudge, but so far definitely not as bad as I expected. This guy's still trying to get used to the tank, so that's the reason why I believe he's not showing any aggression. I was expecting him to be aggressive towards these other peacock bass, but really he's I guess still trying to fill everything out. Once again, it's only about 3 hours and you really have to wait for a longer update to see how everything plays out fully. But yeah, the Oscar, he's mad at everybody. I see him chasing all the fish around. I even saw him fighting this rock for like in half an hour. So he definitely has a grudge, but his purpose is just to show that he's tank boss, he's dominant. Even though all the fish are not subject to him, he wants this big guy to know not to try him. Other than that, these other peacock bass, at first they were intimidated, but it seems like because he's not attacking them right away, they're not taking it too serious. Surprisingly, this Orinoco, I expected him to attack the big guy, but I guess he sees his size advantage. He's just calm. He's actually not as aggressive as he was before. So I guess he knows that this guy is a big threat to himself. And other than that, everybody else just doing their own thing. Look at the Orinoco making me a liar because he just attacked a small Orinoco. But yeah, everyone, just a day in the life. If you want to see what happens to this fish long term and how these fish respond, make sure you subscribe because I'll give you guys some videos to come. But yeah, everyone, that's just a day in the life. Gave this big guy a new home. Eventually, these guys will need a bigger home, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the year. But yeah, as of today, look at the Oscar.